Meg Whitman's never let the truth or the rules get in the way of helping herself. She skirted the law until a Wall Street whistleblower exposed her insider deals. She's invested in offshore tax shelters, and now she's spending her riches on a dishonest ad campaign the media exposed as shameful and an outright lie. Writing Whitman plays loose with facts and uses cynical ploys to manipulate voters. Meg Whitman, she won't let the truth stop her, but you sure can.
As governor, he cut waste, got rid of the mansion and the limo. Budgets were balanced. $4 billion in tax cuts, world-class schools and universities, clean energy promoted, 1.9 million new jobs created. California was working.
I'm Jerry Brown. California needs major changes. We have to live within our means, we have to return power and decision-making to the local level, closer to the people, and no new taxes without voter approval.
Jerry Brown, the knowledge and know-how to get California working again.
You know, 30 years ago, anything was possible in this state.
As governor, he cut waste, got rid of the mansion and the limo. Budgets were balanced. $4 billion in tax cuts, world-class schools and universities, clean energy promoted, 1.9 million new jobs created. California was working. Jerry Brown, the knowledge and know-how to get California working again.
Cuando fue gobernador, Jerry Brown luchó junto a mi tío César Chávez para conseguir salarios justos para los trabajadores y para abrir el camino hacia la educación y el éxito para toda una generación de latinos. Yo sé porque soy una de ellos. Ahora, la republicana Meg Whitman quiere impedir que los estudiantes indocumentados asistan a la universidad, quitándoles la oportunidad de triunfar. Por eso tenemos que votar por Jerry Brown para gobernador, para el derecho de todos a una buena educación y un futuro mejor.
Our state has a huge deficit. Meg Whitman's plan will make it billions worse by eliminating the capital gains tax for wealthy investors, including herself. Economists say her plan will rip a hole in the budget and is deeply flawed. Analysts for the LA Times say Whitman's plan is a pure handout to the rich, creating a huge risk to schools and public safety. Jerry Brown's against this unfair giveaway because it will take billions from our children when we can least afford it. Get California working again for all of us.
If our future starts here, should California continue the cutbacks that are crippling our classrooms? Meg Whitman says yes. Whitman says we should cut another $7 billion from our schools. Teacher layoffs, 100,000 more, 33% larger class sizes, and even more cuts to arts and music programs that deny our kids a well-rounded education. Tell Meg Whitman that cutting education to pay for tax breaks for the wealthy is wrong for our schools and California's future.
Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for different results.
I have built businesses.
I built a business.
Met the payroll.
Met a payroll.
I enter this office beholden to no one except you.
I will owe my office to no one but you.
I don't owe anyone anything.
I don't owe anyone anything.
It's all about leadership.
This is all about leadership. Jobs, jobs, and jobs.
Jobs, jobs, jobs. We do not have a revenue problem.
We do not have a revenue problem.
We have a spending problem.
We have a spending problem.
Rebuilding California.
Build a new California.
Rebuild California.
Let's build a new California.
We need to run the state as a business.
Running this thing a little bit more like a business.
What's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst thing that can happen?
As governor, he balanced budgets without raising taxes, and California created 1.9 million jobs. As Attorney General, Jerry Brown took on Wall Street banks, mortgage scammers, and public officials stealing from taxpayers. At this stage in his life, Jerry Brown has the independence to make the tough decisions California needs.
As governor, I'll cap government salaries and pensions. On the budget, we have to face reality. Make do with what we have and no taxes without voter approval.
Jerry Brown, knowledge and know-how that works for you. Wouldn't it be nice if every time Meg Whitman told a lie, her nose would grow? Newspapers report the claims in this Meg Whitman ad are false, and she knows it. Taxes went down under Jerry Brown, but Whitman's nose keeps growing by the millions. Meg Whitman's nose keeps growing. Whitman says California lost jobs under Jerry Brown. Turns out 1.9 million jobs were created. She spent millions saying Jerry Brown raised taxes. Fact is, Brown cut $4 billion in taxes. But Whitman's nose keeps growing by the millions.
Meg Whitman dice ser una republicana diferente, pero Pete Wilson está a cargo de su campaña. Whitman ataca a los trabajadores indocumentados para ganar votos, pero una mujer indocumentada trabajó en su hogar por 9 años. Dice que creará trabajos, pero quiere eliminar 40,000 empleos estatales, incluyendo a maestros y enfermeras. Whitman dice una cosa en español y algo diferente cuando habla en inglés. La verdadera Whitman no tiene vergüenza. Es una mujer de 2 caras.
Meg Whitman dice ser una republicana diferente, pero hay ciertas cosas que no quiere que usted vea en sus anuncios. Pete Wilson está a cargo de su campaña y ganó la primaria republicana atacándonos. Es una multimillonaria que reduce impuestos a las empresas, pero recorta servicios de salud a la clase trabajadora y quiere impedir que todos nuestros hijos tengan la misma oportunidad de asistir a la universidad. Whitman dice una cosa en español y lo opuesto cuando habla en inglés. La verdadera Whitman no tiene vergüenza. Es una mujer de 2 caras.
How many lies can Meg Whitman jam into one ad? At least 7. As governor, Jerry Brown cut taxes and amassed a record budget surplus. As mayor of Oakland, Brown didn't raise taxes, 70% of voters did, putting 65 new cops on the street. And Brown moved into a high-crime neighborhood to see the problems firsthand. That's the real Brown record. Factcheck.org called Whitman's ad highly misleading, saying it's Whitman who fails when it comes to the facts.
You know it's bad when the press asks if you'd take a lie detector test. Meg Whitman didn't tell the truth about not voting or about how long she lived in California. She got caught in insider deals at Goldman Sachs. She changed her story about physically abusing an employee. She campaigned as tough as nails on immigration, knowing her housekeeper of 9 years was undocumented. Her TV ads have been condemned as false and misleading. And even her hometown newspaper said Meg Whitman has demonstrated a loose relationship with the truth.
Would either of you, or both of you, be willing to make a pledge that you would end the negativity?
If she takes her negative ads as reasonably defined, and I'll take mine off, no question. If we do it together,
that's what I'm asking.
No problem. I pledge that right now.
I don't think we can take down the ads that talk about where Governor Brown stands on the issues. I just think it's not the right thing to do.
Has this happened to you?
I should have, and I didn't. Why not? I should have voted, and I didn't.
Okay, maybe you didn't go 28 years without voting. But as Meg Whitman can tell you, missing out on your chance to vote can be, well, a little embarrassing.
I should have, and I didn't. But why we're going to move on to thank you.
On November 2nd, protect yourself from having a Meg moment. Go to raiseyourvote.com to locate your polling place. And don't forget to vote. Never accused of following conventional wisdom, Jerry Brown took on the status quo. As governor, he refused to take a pay raise and vetoed pay raises for state employees, dumped the governor's mansion and the limo to save money. And with Jerry Brown as governor, California was working. $4 billion in tax cuts, 1.9 million jobs created. Jerry Brown has the knowledge and know-how to get California working again.
As governor, I was known for frugality. I thought if people were cutting back, government should too. Today, our state is in serious trouble. We need to make major changes and think differently and govern differently. By making the tough decisions now, we can get California back on track. We have to start living within our means. We need to return power and decision-making to the local level, closer to the people, and no new taxes without voter approval.
Jerry Brown, the knowledge and know-how to get California working again. Paid for by Brown for Governor 2010.
Just when you thought it was safe to watch TV or listen to the radio, Meg Whitman's back, falsely attacking Jerry Brown. But all the money in the world can't change the facts.
As governor, Brown sold off the state's jet and limousine. He refused to live in the governor's mansion, paying his own rent instead. Time magazine said Brown honored his pledge to hold the line on taxes,
even as he built up the largest budget surplus in California history. Long before it was popular, Brown took on big oil to expand renewable energy, and bring in good-paying jobs.
As Attorney General, Brown cracked down on mortgage fraud. He protected consumers from credit card companies and went after nursing home operators who abuse seniors.
It's easy to talk about balancing the budget or fighting for working people.
But only one candidate has done it before. Jerry Brown will get California back on track.
Paid for by Working Californians. Major funding by California State Council of Service Employees Small Contributor Committee and California State Association of Electrical Workers Committee. Not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Meet the real Meg Whitman. Serving on the board of Goldman Sachs, Whitman was caught reaping millions from insider stock deals. After eBay shareholders sued and a judge cited the obvious conflict of interest, she was forced to pay the money back. What kind of person would be involved in deals a fellow Republican congressman called corrupt? And in her last year at eBay, Whitman paid herself $120 million right before the company laid off 10% of its workers. We're choosing a governor. Shouldn't character matter?
Our state is in a real mess. And I'm not going to give you any phony plans or snappy slogans that don't go anywhere. We have to make some tough decisions. We have to live within our means. We've got to take the power from the state capitol and move it down to the local level, closer to the people, and no new taxes without voter approval. We've got to pull together not as Republicans or as Democrats, but as Californians first. At this stage of my life, I'm prepared to do exactly that.
For billionaire CEOs like Meg Whitman, money makes life's little problems disappear. Whitman was sued for age discrimination and paid big bucks to settle the case. At eBay, Whitman shoved a co-worker, then paid 6 figures to make it go away. And when sued for putting personal profit ahead of her duty to shareholders, she paid millions to settle that one too. In business, money works like magic. But when a governor faces trouble, the trick's on us. When you think of spinning, you think of this or this. But on Wall Street, spinning was a scheme, now illegal, where the well-connected got exclusive access to hot stocks. On the board of Goldman Sachs, Meg Whitman made a fortune spinning stocks at the expense of small investors. Then when a judge found she'd exploited her own shareholders to enrich herself, Whitman had to pay back millions. We can't afford a governor who puts herself before us, no matter how she spins it.
How a person treats a fellow human being says a lot about their values. Meg Whitman's housekeeper served her for 9 years. Meg called her a member of the family, until Meg decided she wanted to be governor. Then Meg fired her, saying, "You don't know me, and I don't know you." Well, maybe Meg Whitman doesn't know you either, but now you know a lot more about Meg Whitman.